Hi, I'm Jamie Edwards, a teacher with 24 years of experience and the creator of PowerEd writing plans. If your students are anything like mine, they often see very little difference between the first or rough draft and the final draft. In fact, sometimes the only change I get is they rewrite it just a little bit neater. But if our students are to produce comprehensive, well-thought-out essays, they must utilize the stages of writing. To paraphrase Shakespeare, all the world's a stage, and all the students merely writers. When good writers start a new book, a poem, or essay, etc., the words just appear on the page without much effort, right? Wrong. All writers, especially the good ones, use a process when they write. Because our minds don't always think in logical paragraphs with supporting details and a carefully planned out thesis sentence, we need to approach writing as a step-by-step process. So, what are the stages of the writing process? Well, there's 5 of them, and each one is crucial to the development of a well-written essay. Stage 1 is pre-writing. Stage 2, drafting. Stage 3, revising. Stage 4, proofreading. Stage 5, final draft. Now, let's take a look at each stage in detail. Introducing pre-writing, time to think. In the first stage of the writing process, the students will be laying the foundation for their essay. This is their brainstorming time. Unfortunately, this is often glossed over or sometimes skipped entirely. First, the students will need to decide on their purpose or reason for writing. This is where the students are going to determine the type of essay they're writing, whether it's narrative, argumentative, or expository. Next, they will need to identify who their written work will be read by. Who is their audience? Is it their peers? Is it a teacher? Or is it someone else? Then they will need to choose the topic of focus for their writing. What exactly is it that they are going to be writing about? This is incredibly important because this is where they will have to evaluate the prompt and respond properly. Finally, they will brainstorm ideas about the subject. Have them gather the information they already know and determine what else they need to find out. Introducing drafting, time to write. In this stage of the writing process, the students are going to begin gathering their information and putting it on the paper. Now, it's very important that they not get caught up in the specifics here. There'll be time enough for that later. Now the students will need to put the information that they brainstormed into language that's appropriate for the assignment. Make sure they understand no slang, I am, or text speak. They need to use boring, old, proper grammar. Have your students write sentences and paragraphs at this point, even if they're not perfect. Don't let them worry about the grammar and conventions, because that's going to be taken care of later. Read what they have written, and here's where they need to judge if it's saying what they mean it to say. Now, here's the hardest part. If they are not getting their point across, they need to revise their plan. Go back to stage 1, the pre-writing, and they can make changes accordingly. Introducing revising, time to make it better. This stage of the writing process is often skipped over entirely. Students confuse revising with just rewriting. Yet, this stage will make the difference between an essay that develops its purpose and an essay that just meanders around the topic. In revising, they will need to read what they have written again. Yes, they actually need to read it again. They will fight you on this, but it's important. Then, rearrange words or sentences. If they're using the same sentence order time after time, this is where they need to change it. Have them get away from that SVO, subject, verb, object order, and start looking at compound or compound complex sentences. Here's where they take out or add parts. If all parts of the writing are not supporting the purpose or topic, this is where they can adjust. Replace dead words or unclear words. These are the words they love to use time and time again. Very, said, walked, a lot. Now's the time to get those gone, grab a thesaurus, and make it better. And finally, have them read their writing aloud if they're allowed to. This is how they can determine if it flows smoothly. I always liken this as to getting in the car with a first-time driver who's learning to drive a stick shift. If you're bouncing back and forth while you're listening to it, then they need to revise. Introducing proofreading. Time to make it correct. Proofreading is when the students try and catch the errors that are in their paper. Now, are they going to catch all of them? No, but they will catch a majority, and this will make a huge difference in the impact of their paper. In proofreading, students need to make sure that all of the sentences are complete. Just having a period at the end of a sentence does not make it a complete sentence. It must have a subject and a verb. Also, here's where they can check to make sure there is a variety of sentence types. Correct spelling, capitalization, punctuation. This is big. They have to make sure they're following the rules of grammar. Little things like capitalizing the first word of a sentence, eliminated random capitalization where they like to just capitalize their A's because it looks cute. All of these things need to be eliminated in their proofreading stage. And here's a big one. Change words that are not correctly used. The dreaded homophones. They're deadly. No, they're deadly. No, they're deadly. There is one that my students misuse all the time. Make sure that your students are getting it correct on proofreading. Introducing final draft. Now it's time for your students to share their finished product. The final draft is the accumulation of everything they have put together in the other stages. If you allow, let them work with a peer and edit each other's work. This is a great chance for them to not only see the mistakes that they're making and learn how to correct them, but to identify them in others' work. Have them recopy it correctly and neatly. Now, a few things. If your students are preparing for a standardized test, make sure that they are not skipping lines between paragraphs, they're properly indenting, and they're writing within the framework of the test paper. All of these things will be counted for when it's graded. And then have a little fun with them. Tell them to relax, they are done. Until the next assignment. This lesson takes the stages of writing and breaks them down into easily understandable chunks for your students to understand. The complete lesson comes with a lesson plan with the Common Core standards indicated, a student worksheet that's designed to be interactive and require your students to participate throughout the lesson, the PowerPoint you just saw, and a short training video to help you implement the lesson in class. This lesson and over 100 others just like it can be found at www.poweredplans.com. Try a free trial today. No credit card required. Right on.